Hi there guys, and welcome back to a new vlog. Today I'm going to be continuing with my read of the Truly Devious series with Book 2, The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. So this one follows on from Book 1 of Truly Devious, which follows Stevie Bell, who decides to go to the Ellingham Academy, which is a prestigious school where many years earlier the founder, Albert Ellingham, had his wife and daughter kidnapped and brutally murdered, and no one ever really knew what happened. So Stevie decides to go, as an expert in the case, and try and find out what did truly happen there. Then things start getting a little bit crazy. The first book was actually really enjoyable. I had a lot of critiques for it, but I still had a really good time. In the end, I think I gave it a 4-star despite my critiques, and there were quite a few critiques. I will link that video there if you want to go and watch it, so make sure you do before you watch this one. You know, keep up to date and all that. But Book 2 follows on from where Book 1 left off. This one follows... I was going to not mention it, but then I realised spoilers. Yay, we can. So Book 2 follows Stevie as she's been dragged out of Ellingham Academy. Ellingham. So Book 2 follows Stevie as she's been dragged out of Ellingham Academy by her parents. She really wants to go back there, but her parents won't let her. Then Edward King, who is her parents' boss, who is a horrible politician that Stevie despises, who also happens to be the father of the guy Stevie dated, but didn't tell her he was his son, shows up and says, if you play nice with my son, I will get you back to Ellingham Academy. Because I have a political agenda and I need him to behave. And this is the only way he'll do it. So Stevie now has to decide, does she throw everything she believes in away in order to go back to Ellingham Academy? Or does she stand her ground, but that would mean she never gets to go back? And it sounds really fun and interesting, and I'm excited to carry on reading. The first book was a bit all over because I feel as though Book 1 spent so much time getting to know all of these characters so that you'd love them, and I was bored. I wanted more story and thrill and mystery to happen, and that didn't really happen until about halfway through the book. Now I'm hoping that because we spent so much time doing that in Book 1, this one will be absolutely amazing and I won't stop reading. So we're going to see how that goes. I want to discuss some of the theories I had at the end of Book 1 for what I thought was going to happen in Book 2. First of all, I said I didn't think that Albert Ellingham was actually dead. In Book 1, we found out that he went out on his boat one day with his friend, the boat exploded and he was killed. I don't believe he did. I believe that that was a kind of a sneak. He faked his own death to try and lure out the killers of his wife and daughter to try and find out what happened. And they thought if he died, then he could find out what happens. I also don't feel as though Ellie in the present day, who actually murdered Hayes and was a big part of everything that happened in the present day, I don't think she actually did it. She's obviously involved. I definitely believe her to be involved, but I don't think she actually murdered him. I think there is more to that story, and she just took the fall for it. And I'm really intrigued to see where that goes. I did have a third theory. Yes, the third theory was that, and I'm sure we'll learn about it here, David, who Stevie dated, who is the son of the politician Stevie despises, actually always knew who Stevie was. And I'm intrigued to kind of know more about that, whether he did actually know who she was all the time and whether he played her. Because I want to know why. Like, I kind of liked David and Stevie in the first book, and then we found out this, and now I feel as though if he actually knew this information, I want to know why he betrayed her that way. So those are the theories. Hopefully they're correct. If I'm wrong in them, then that's pretty embarrassing, but never mind. But I'm excited to read it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get into reading it, update you throughout with all of my spoiler-filled thoughts. Can't wait. See you guys soon. You know what? Genuinely, Dottie's death in Book 1 was the most traumatic thing I have ever read. It really upset me, and I don't know why. It was just fantastic writing. And they're talking about it in this prologue, and I'm just like, why are you trying to hurt me like this? So that's a very good start. And then we've just got onto a chapter with Stevie as she's talking to her friends. Janelle and Nate are still at Ellingham, and Stevie is not. So you get to really see that friendship that they built. Thank you, Book One, for that. Still wish there was a mystery, but thank you for letting me know that they're friends. So you really get to see that friendship between them and how Stevie no longer being at Ellingham has affected her, as well as seeing that even though their friendships are still carrying on, life is there and it is very confusing. Like, Nate has just mentioned what Janelle and himself have been doing, and he also mentioned David, and then abruptly stopped because they know something happened between her and David, and you get to see that awkwardness, and it's like a nice little introduction and a reminder and a refresher of what actually happened in book one. So it was a very interesting start. Can't wait to continue. It has just ended with chapter 2, and apparently Stevie has a visitor. I don't know who that visitor is. We'll see. I have a feeling it's going to be Mr. King, David's dad, because obviously the plot is about him offering her the chance to go back. I have a feeling this is going to be him. So I know I've said this before, but I absolutely love Stevie's friendships with the rest of the people. Like, I know I've said that the fact that we got to know all of these characters in book one was very, like, what drew the book out for so much and made me struggle to read it. But I just love her friendships. Like, with Nate, he is so sarcastic and dry and witty and funny, and Janelle is just so caring and fun, and I love them all, and I just think they complement Stevie so well. I love it. I love their relationship, and I love their friendships. I love it. So my favourite of all of the theories so far is the secret heir. The one that whoever finds Alice will inherit the Ellingham thing. I feel like that's the most likely to happen. I'm a bit excited to see if that is going to be the case. I really like that idea, though, so I'm really looking forward to finding out. Nate just literally suits me perfectly. Like, he's literally just sat there like, this is why I prefer books to people. And I'm just like, yes, boy. Yes, we agree. We all love the books. We don't like the people. Random thought. I really like the Frankie and Eddie chapters. I'm actually finding them so interesting to read about. But I'm like, who are they? Like, I know who they are. I know that they're students. I know that they're involved somehow. But, like, they can't be the kidnappers, surely, because that's been brought in very, very early in the book, if that's the case. So surely they can't be the kidnappers. Like, I can't imagine we'd find out who the kidnappers are this early into the book. So who are they? Like, what's their point in the story? Like, I'm assuming they're a bit of a red herring, but, you know, like, why are you here, guys? What is your point to the story? I don't know. But I really like the chapters, so I hope we get to see more of them. I'm just trying to figure out what they have to do with the story right now, because I know they can't be the kidnappers. As much as I would like it, it just really doesn't fit. Like, those two kidnapping a grown woman and a child, finding somewhere to keep them, / murder them, being able to dump their bodies and no one in the school noticed. Like, it just doesn't fit in my head. If that's what happened, then fair enough. I'm sure it'll get explained properly. But, like, that just doesn't fit in my head. Plus the fact that it's brought up so early into the story. Like, you've not given us the answer that early, surely. I don't know. It doesn't fit right for me. Oh my god, Stevie's investigation chapter. That was just like, that was next level stuff. I loved it. I felt as though we got so much just in that one small chapter. I'm so happy. I'm so happy with this. I'm loving this book already. This is a massive step up from book one for me. So far, this is like a 5-star. I mean, it's very early on, so I should probably not jinx it. But so far it is. And after the rocky road of book one, I feel like I'm finally getting that truly devious story that I've been wanting so desperately. So I'm so happy. Yay. So if I'm right, the truly devious note is not even related to the kidnapping in any way, shape, or form. It was just like a big coincidence, and it just kind of got brought into the investigation because of bad timing.
I really didn't expect that to happen. And I don't know how I feel. Like, that was simultaneously the most intriguing and smartest thing Maureen Johnson could have written, because she's really just blown this entire story out of the water. But also I feel a little bit cheated. Like, the whole story's meant to revolve around this note and this mystery around what the note means, and now the note was pointless to the story. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, is it smart or is it a cop out? I don't know. Guys, what do you think? Like, let me know in the comments whether you thought that was really, really ingenious of the author to write, or whether you thought that that was a bit of a cheat, that she made the letter, the point of the story, the mystery of who truly Devious is, not even related to the main point of the story. I genuinely can't decide how I feel about it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because I would love to know people's opinions. Maybe it'll sway me either way. I don't really know what to think. They found Dottie's body. I'm really sad. Why? I have such a connection to Dottie, but like, why? She was in one chapter. Why do I care about her this much? Like, I hear about Iris and Alice being killed. I heard about Hayes being murdered, and I'm just like, oh, that sucks. But then whenever it mentions Dottie, I'm like, not Dottie, she was taken too young. That poor girl, she didn't deserve it. I'm like, why do I care about her so much? She was literally in one chapter. In book 1. She was in the prologue. Like, why do I care? But I care, and it breaks my heart every time I hear about her dying. Maybe it's the fact that they just completely glossed over her death because of Iris and the other one, Alice. But I'm like, why do I care so much about Dottie? But every time I think about her being murdered, my heart dies a little inside. And I genuinely, when I read about her dying, and when I read about the fact that she did die, it really makes me want to cry. And I can't for the life of me figure out why it's her that impacts me so much and not any of the others. This is really
Nate
weird.
just absolutely kills me. And Stevie's like, we can't let him go down there alone when David's in the tunnel. And Nate's like, yes, we can. We can just close the hatch. Like, that dry humour. Mwah. Perfection. Why is Edward King such a big part of this story? Like, obviously I know who he is and what he is, and obviously his part in the story is in relation to David and him and Stevie being together. But, like, he's mentioned so often, like the fact that Stevie hates him, the fact that it's always brought up that he's David's dad. Like, it's always mentioned. And why? We're focusing on this murder, we're focusing on this mystery and this storyline, yet you're just bringing a randomer into it all the time. Like, I get that he's the catalyst that got Stevie back to Ellingham, but, like, why is he always being mentioned? It makes me feel like there's more to this story and that he is going to have a bigger part. He's going to be wrapped up, or the family is going to be wrapped up in the mystery somehow, and therefore he's going to play a massive part in the 3rd book. That's just a theory I've got now, because now that Stevie's back at Ellingham Academy, who cares about Edward King? Like, he's not important to the story now. He's done his job as a character. He's got them back together. Yet he's still always being mentioned. It's never letting you forget about him. So now I'm just like, does he have more to play? Oh my god, they found a body. They have found a body. Is it Ellie? Oh, is it going to be Ellie? I have a feeling it's going to be Ellie. That means she's been murdered. Which means this story is not over yet. Little Mr. Ellingham's not too innocent, is he, having a mistress? Naughty man. Oh my god, it's Ellie! Oh, I knew it.
So it's now coming across that Fenton's actually just in this for the money. So is she a bad guy now? I can definitely see that happening. I can see her betraying Stevie and... Didn't actually expect it though, so that was actually quite interesting to read about. Larry's leaving and now I'm sad. I love Larry.
So whoever finds Alice gets 10 million. Unless it approaches Alice's 90th birthday before she's found. At which point it'll go to the school. In my head, I'm now thinking, because obviously this was 1920s, was it? I can't remember when it happened. But I'm thinking, is it approaching Alice's 90th? So is it possible that a board member of the school or a staff member has murdered Hayes and Ellie to make sure that money goes to the school? Or, I mean, I feel like they'd go for Stevie because she's the one investigating. She'd be the one to kill. But if they're trying to avoid Alice being found so that the money would go to the school and not an individual, is that possible?
My mind just keeps flashing back to this missing phone call from the past. What's happening with that? I feel as though that never got mentioned again. So we keep getting mentions of this green clock in Ellingham's room. And I just know that's going to be a massive plot point of book 3 because obviously it's the hand on the wall and the cover's a picture of a clock that's green. It's a green cover. So I feel as though that's there. There's a big hinty hint that people obviously wouldn't have gotten when they read the book for the first time because the third book wasn't planned or it wasn't written or released at that point. Reading it now, I'm like, oh, that's so obvious.
What the hell does "it was on the wire" mean? Like, I am lost, man. So what's going on with Fenton? Like, she just keeps saying the kid is there. And I'm thinking, has she found something out about Alice and she's just trying to get that message to Stevie? Is Alice there? Where? Where is Alice? Where is the kid? Who is the kid? I don't know, but I'm intrigued to find out more. Oh my god. So Ellingham did set up the bomb on his boat? Did Marsh actually take them? That makes sense of why he'd take his friend with him, because that always confused me in book 1. That's what made me think he's faked his death, because he's took his friend with him. You wouldn't take your friend and kill your friend and yourself. Like, you wouldn't do that. Now it makes a lot of sense. I'm honestly still upset that the Truly Devious note isn't even related to the case. I'm really bothered by that. I've decided. I was saying before I weren't sure how I felt. Now I do. I'm a little bit bothered. So Marsh killed Dottie. And he staged the kidnapping. I know I said earlier that I get really upset every time someone mentions Dottie, and I'm actually heartbroken right now. I'm actually numb from shock. That entire revelation has left me like... I genuinely can't put into words how I'm feeling. What more can happen with the Ellingham case? Like, literally, what is there left to discuss in book 3? We found out who the kidnappers were. We found out what the note meant. We found out Ellingham blew himself up as well as George Marsh. It's like, what else is there? Obviously, there's figuring out what happened to Aze and Helly. You know, them two, like, in the present. There's still mysteries in the present. But, like, what is there left now to discover about the Ellingham case? Because all of it seems to be solved. Oh my god. Albert asked, is Alice alive? And George said, it doesn't matter, or does it matter, or something. He didn't answer. He didn't say, no, she's not. Is Alice alive? I think she's alive. That's my guess. I think she is alive. Or she was. I don't know if she still is, because she'll be nearly 90. But she was definitely alive. She didn't get killed. So... the way that chapter was written about how he was like, you're never going to let go. And then it was like, 5 minutes later, the place exploded. Like, it didn't show you him blowing the bomb up. It didn't show it up. So something else has happened on that boat. Either Marsh has blown it up, Ellingham's blown it up, or Ellingham has faked his death. And the way that chapter was written proves that there is more to that story. And I am still convinced that Ellingham is alive. Or he was alive. He didn't die on that boat. Oh my god, Fenton's dead. Hunter better not be. It said they don't know his condition. He better still be alive. I don't know how to respond. I need a minute. I'm very close to the end. I just need a minute, and then I can talk to you about the end of this book. I finished The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This was so much better than book one. Book one, it was fine, but it just didn't pick up until halfway through. This one, from page one, you were in it, and it just never stopped, and I loved every damn second of it. Absolute 5-star. So I've got a couple of thoughts and theories leading into book three. One, I feel as though Albert Ellingham didn't die on the boat. I've said that many times. I said that in book one. I still feel as though that was the case. I feel as though the way it's written, it's trying to make it clear that he set the bomb off himself. But part of me feels that because of the way it's written, it's never written him actually getting blown up. I feel as though he is alive, or he was alive after that event. I also feel like the way this story is written, that Alice is alive, or she was alive at the events of the story. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe Marsh told Ellingham where Alice was. He blew Marsh up anyway as revenge for Iris. And then Ellingham went and found his daughter. And that's why he never came back, because he went and found Alice and just left to make sure she stayed safe. Maybe. That's an interesting theory. I also feel like Edward King. I feel as though he is much more important to the story. Maybe the Kings are descendants of Ellingham. That's why Edward King's so determined to fund Stevie being there, as well as the fact that it's to do with David. Maybe it's just to do with the fact that she should be at the school and she should solve the case. I don't know, but I feel as though Edward King is in this story too much, considering his only role in the story is to be the reason David and Stevie are together. So I feel as though there is more to his story in this book. And putting him down as maybe Alice's son, if Alice did survive, and Alice had a child, being Edward King, who then had a child being David, I would not say that is impossible. I think that is a very big possibility. So, other theories. Obviously, I still feel as though Hayes and Ellie were murdered. I don't feel as though either of them were accidents. I still obviously think Ellie didn't kill Hayes. And I don't think Ellie was just stranded down there until she died. I feel as though something happened. And especially now that Fenton's dead. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with that one. But obviously I still feel as though they were murdered. I feel as though I had another theory and I wrote it down on my phone. So I'll be back. Oh yeah, the only other theory I had, it was in relation to Hayes and Ellie, is that theory I mentioned before about in Ellingham's will, it was a case of whoever finds Alice gets 10 million unless it approaches her 90th birthday, in which case it goes to the school. I think Alice must be nearing 90 now, based on when this story is set and when the kidnapping happened. So I feel like it's potentially a member of the school staff that's killing off these people because they're getting too close to the truth. Maybe Hayes found something in that tunnel that he shouldn't have found, and before he could tell Stevie about it, he was killed. And then Ellie, he left a note for Ellie, maybe, and Ellie ran away because she was threatened, and then she ended up getting killed, which would explain why Stevie has not been targeted yet. I feel as though the next book would definitely focus on her being targeted a bit much, because she's the investigator. So I feel like if there's anyone investigating this story that is a threat, Stevie is the threat, and they will need to eliminate her eventually. So those are my theories. If you've read this book, let me know what you thought of it. I have so many feelings about this book right now. I loved it. Let me know if you kind of cottoned onto anything. What was the biggest shock? Do you have any theories leading into book 3 if you've not read it yet? Make sure you don't give any spoilers for future books. Obviously, this book and the previous book are free game. everyone here should have read the book by now or have no interest in it being spoiled because it doesn't matter, because I've spoiled everything. But no spoilers for book 3, please. But in the meantime, guys, I'm going to go process my feelings for this book, and then hopefully we'll be moving on to book 3 a lot quicker than I did with book 2. So for now, I'm going to go, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!